Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to talk about, well, kind of like my labor and delivery experience with both of my babies. So I guess the main detail of this video today is going to be epidural versus natural. So I experienced both of them. And so Elias was, I guess he was a pretty decent sized baby. He was 7 pounds and 10 ounces, am I right? And he was 22 inches long. So with him, we were living in Texas. So I was treated in a clinic in Texas with a really great doctor, Dr. Garcia. He was really, really awesome throughout the whole process. And then during that course of time, my husband had to be transferred to New Mexico. So I was about 8 months pregnant, 7 months pregnant when we moved here to New Mexico. And so I was like, oh no, what am I gonna do? You know, my doctor, he's in Texas, which is about an hour and a half away. And I was looking for a doctor here, and I just was having really good luck. And I guess I was just, well, I didn't look that hard, but I was just panicking. I was stressing out. So I just decided to drive once a month to go see my doctor an hour and a half away. So because of that reason, he decided that it would be a good idea to plan it to be induced. Oh, never again. So there's a lot of controversy between, you know, epidural and versus natural. And my whole plan with Elias is I wanted to have a natural birth. I wanted to do it all natural. I didn't want any medications. And that was in my head the whole time. And I would tell Dr. Garcia, and he's like, well, it won't happen if we get you induced, because if we get you induced, we have to give you the, whatever you call it, the, shoot, what is it called? It's a medication to cause contraction. He was just freaking me out. He kept telling me there was nothing wrong with the epidural, which is not, but I really wanted to have a natural birth. I really wanted to experience that myself. So then, anyways, that day came. It was October, the 5th of October. So we went to the hospital. We drove up there. My mom was here. So it was me, my husband, and my mom, and I was scheduled to be induced at 7 o'clock. So we got there and to the hospital. I registered, and there was no rooms. So there was nobody, like there was no rooms available. I had to wait. They had me in the living area where all the patients' families stay at. So we were waiting there for hours. I think we waited there for 2 hours. Then they called me back. They took us to a room, and it wasn't a labor and delivery room. It was another room for something else. They had us there. I was laying down. Oh, they had us there for like another 3 hours. It was a pain. So yeah, we were there, and I was like, what the heck is going on? Like, I was supposed to be induced at 7 o'clock, and it's like, it was midnight. So it was October 6th by this point. And they finally took me to the labor and delivery room, and they started doing all the process. They injected the IV with the what is that medication called? I'm gonna figure this out. I will put it on the subtitles here, but it's to cause contractions. So I was feeling it, and it was going all so fast, and I was like, oh my God, this is really painful. And it was just going really quick, and I'm like, oh my God, this is hurting really bad. So then the nurse would come in, and she would check, and she would be like, oh my God, you're not dilated yet. You're still at 5 or 4 or 5. I don't remember quite well. Sorry, guys. But she's like, you haven't dilated much. You need to walk. And she injected more and more of that medication to cause the contractions. And I was like, oh my God. I kept telling my mom, Jesus Christ, like, this is so painful. And she'd be like, oh, she had natural births with the 3 of us. So she was like, oh, that's how it is. It's just, you know, that's just the way it is, Mika. You're gonna have to just take it by the horns and go with it. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I was just feeling so much pain, and then I would go back into the room. I would lay down, you know, I had to open my legs, and she would come and check me, and she was like, oh my God, you're still not dilating very much. So she would put her hand in there, whatever she had to do, and kind of help me. And I was like, what is she doing? And like, I just felt in so much pain. And then she put a ball underneath me. I was just miserable, guys. I hated it because it was clearly, there was not time for Elias to come out yet. I was trying to take him out too soon. I felt so horrible. I was crying. I told my husband and my mom, I'm like, I think Elias wasn't ready to come out. I feel like I'm pushing him out. But just to let you guys know, I was 39 weeks pregnant. So I was about to be 40. So it was a good timing. My doctor said it was all good. But I know there's a big controversy about that. There's a lot of women that decide to wait all full term, even to 41 weeks, which I used to work at, what is it called? A clinic, a pregnancy clinic, and it's not safe either to keep them in there for so long. Anyways, I'm not going to go into that story. I just know it's not safe. I mean, I'm not a doctor. I don't know what I'm doing. You know, I don't know what I'm saying most of the time. I just know that when I would listen to other doctors tell other patients when they were being stubborn and they just wanted to keep their babies until they were ready, but they were like 42 weeks pregnant, they would tell them we need to get him out because it could be dangerous as well. But I don't know. Anyways, so, well, where was I? I don't remember. Okay, so I was super uncomfortable and I was just feeling more pain. I could just see her injecting more, and I'm like, oh my God, Jesus Christ. She would come and check on me. She would tell me, do you want the epidural now? And I said, no, 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 I got this. Okay, so a couple hours or maybe an hour passed by. She came and check again. She checked with me twice until the third time I was like, I cannot do this anymore. I'm in so much pain. I need the epidural shot now. So, okay, so they brought the I think it's the specialist for anesthesia, and he came in and he explained all the, you know, the procedure and all the you know, the risks, the cautions and all that. And I was in so much pain, and I felt really bad. Like, you know, I wasn't trying to be rude, but I think I was like really rude to everybody that one day, which at the end, after I had Elias, I was like, I'm so sorry if I was rude to you or I was bitchy. They're like, oh no, we get that a lot. But anyways, you know, so I was just like, he was explaining to me, and I was like, okay, I need it quick. And he's like, okay. I was like, please, I'm in so much pain. So he injected it and everything was good. So a couple hours, I was starting to feel better, you know, wasn't feeling any pain. I'm like, okay, this is a lot better. The doctor came and checked and see if I was dilated, and I was dilating a lot quicker. And I think I was up to 8 centimeters. Or anyways, so when it was getting closer to push, I still felt a little bit, and I felt it in one leg. So it was really weird because I was only numb in one leg, completely dead. I don't know if that's normal. I've asked other women, like other friends that I've talked to, and I've asked them, and they're like, well, we didn't get that, you know, result. I was numb only in one leg, like really bad. Like I couldn't even walk with it. I was dragging it. And because when they told me to keep walking around to, you know, to see if I could get more dilated, I could not. I just couldn't. Like I was dragging it. I told my mom, I feel it really heavy. But I could feel, I could feel everything on my left leg. And I was like, what is going on? So the moment that I was pushing, when the doctor would tell me to push, I didn't feel anything, only on this side. So I was still kind of feeling the pain. So I would push as hard as I could, and then he would tell me to stop. And then he would tell me to push again, and he would tell me to stop, which it was nice because I didn't feel as much, you know, I didn't feel pain or as much. It was just a lot of pressure. The only thing, the fact that I didn't feel anything, when I was pushing so hard with all my strength that I tore or teared or whatever. A lot. so they had to stitch me. And I didn't feel that, but afterwards I did feel it going number 2. So oh my gosh, that was probably the worst, because I was terrified to have another baby just because of that. Oh my God, I had so many stitches and I tore so badly. My doctor tried to calm me down. He told me it wasn't that bad. My mom saw everything. My mom was there. She wanted to see everything. She saw all that part. She was like, it was a lot. It was a lot. You were bleeding, like it was dripping, and I'm like, oh my God. So I was like, this is horrible. Like, and when I went to go for my post-op appointment, I was like, what's going on? Am I bleeding really bad still? Like, is it a lot? And he was just pulling the little strings, and I'm like, oh, I could feel it a little bit. And I'm like, I don't want to have another baby. But he told me I would heal, that part of the area heals quickly, and just try to be careful and try not to get constipated. And I'm like, okay. But yeah, after I had the epidural, the aftermath, my leg was still like dead for like a full month and a half. Just FYI, like it was still dead. I hated it till this day. When it's, you know, I have to say that a lot of people, a lot of girls that I talk to, that have had the epidural shot, they tell me that they have pain in their lower back when they bend, stretch, or when it's cold. I have not experienced that till this day yet. I've been outside when it's really cold. I stretch, I go work out, I lift weights, sometimes heavy weights, and I have not experienced anything like that. The only thing, it was just the worst experience was my leg. It was really, really bad, and it was starting to concern even my doctor, because it was like a month and a half, and it was still super heavy. After 2 months, I could still feel it tingling. Like it was bad. So I hated it. I was super uncomfortable. I couldn't really walk, right? Like I was limping. It was weird. So definitely not, that's something I did not want for the next baby. With Josiah, I was like, I do not want an epidural. I definitely not want an epidural. So I was like really picky at that. I want to make sure it's all natural. So when I got pregnant with Josiah, I found remedies to like try to have a natural birth. So I was, I used the yoga ball with both, but I was doing, type of stretching and exercise for your muscles down there. And I was just doing a lot of those workouts. And it's weird because I can actually control pain, like not like a high level, but pretty good. And I was just like, why couldn't I control it? And I think I was more scared about labor the second time than I was the first time. The first time, I think a lot of girls are scared because of all the stories that they hear from other women, but I wasn't really scared that first time. Like I was nervous, but I wasn't like super scared about it. But the second time, the fact that I had teared, and the pain with my leg, the fact that I couldn't dilate so quickly, and the fact that it was just so much, and I was in labor for very long. So I got induced at 12, and I didn't have Elias, I think, till like 6 in the morning. So it wasn't super long, but still, like I was just like waiting and waiting and waiting. And I don't know, with Josiah, it was a total different ball game. It was super different. I felt so much prepared. It was just totally awesome. With him, I did wait it out. So I started contractions. Okay, so that day, let me explain. That day, I was dancing in the living room. We were cleaning. It was me and Elias, and I was cleaning, and I was huge, and I was just ready to give labor. Like I just wanted Josiah in our arms, and I was so over being pregnant, because they're 16 months apart, I believe. So I was just so over. I feel like I was pregnant right after another. and I didn't feel comfortable anymore. So I remember I just started dancing and I was jumping. I was doing jumping jacks. Like I was, maybe it wasn't safe, but I was being super aggressive with my body. And that, I was just like, oh, nothing. I'd have no contractions. Like I had the Braxton Hicks, but I had no big, like, you know, abnormal or the contractions that, you know, you're ready. So I didn't have any of those. And I was just like, oh my God. And it was like 2 o'clock that day. So I was just like, okay, you know, it was closer to when my husband gets home. So I was making dinner and I was drinking a tea. I think it was the raspberry tea, and like a tea that is safe. I don't remember quite well, but it was a raspberry tea. And, you know, I added some other few ingredients, and, once he got home, I started feeling like Braxton Hicks, and they were just, you know, they were just there, constant, because I was having them throughout the whole month, the 9 months, but it just, like, I was having them throughout the whole time, but it wasn't like steady. And during that time, they were steady and they weren't going away. So I was like, okay. So that one day we got Elias in the truck and we decided to go around town to see if we could find some houses that we could look at, because we were trying to buy a house at that time too. And we went to go look around to see if there was any houses that we liked for sale. So I noticed I was starting to get nauseous. I wasn't feeling good. My vision was starting to get blurry. It was just weird. I'm like, oh my God, I'm just not feeling good. Like I had to go to the bathroom to use the poopy so bad. And I was just like, I just gotta go home. My contractions were just still the same, but they were steady. I'm like, what's going on? I came home, I ran straight to the bathroom, did what I had to do, came back out. I was still feeling nauseous. I was like, I can't do this. I need to lay down. By that time, it was like 6:37. I still had contractions. I was starting to count them, like time them or whatever. And I was like, oh my God, they're becoming really steady and they're becoming harder. So my husband's like, are you sure? Do you think you're in labor? And I'm like, no, I think I'm in labor. I think it's the start of labor. Or maybe I was in freaking labor all day because I had Braxton Hicks all day, but they were just getting harder and harder. So I was like, no, I'm definitely in labor. Because, okay, so that morning, before my husband went to work at 5 in the morning, I woke up because my back was killing me and because I had Braxton Hicks. So yes, I was probably in labor probably that whole day. So I laid down and I was feeling nauseous. He was like, I'm going to call my supervisor. I'm going to tell him I'm not going to make it tonight because I think we're having a baby. He called his mom. My mother-in-law came and she was going to watch Elias. So it was 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock came in, 9 o'clock came in, 10 o'clock came in. And my husband's like, I was like, oh my God, they are getting harder. But I was trying to wait them out because I did not want to be at the hospitals for so long. I'm like, I can control them. I can control them. My husband was like, no, we gotta go now. If you're having a lot of contractions, we gotta go now because we just gotta go now because I don't want to have a baby in the truck. What am I gonna do? And I'm like, no, chill out. We will not have a baby in the truck. We're gonna be okay. I can control them. I got this. I got this. So I was breathing in, breathing out. I was jumping on the ball, you know, I was jumping on the ball. I was doing some exercises. Like, are you still feeling good? I'm like, yeah, I'm feeling them. They're getting stronger and stronger and stronger, but I got this. So then it was like probably 11:30. I went to bed. Elias was already asleep because his bedtime is around 8:30. So Elias was already asleep. I went to lay down and I closed my eyes and I think I fell asleep for 20 minutes. When I woke up to a hard cramp or like a huge contraction, and I was like, oh, nope, let's go. Because it was so hard that I peed a little bit and I thought it was I broke my water. And I was like, oh, I know this is like TMI, but I smelled it and I was like, okay, no, I think I peed. I mean, I was like, oh my God, I don't know, because with Elias, they broke my water. So I didn't know how that felt. I didn't know, the natural thing. So I was like, I don't know what's going on. So I called the hospital, the ER, and I make sure my doctor was there. And yeah, he was there that night. And I was like, thank God. And they transferred me over to the nurse, and then he was on the phone for a little bit really quick, and he was like, you need to come in now. So we got ready. I put my stuff, you know, I grabbed my bag, my diaper bag, and I went and gave Elias a kiss. I was super emotional. Guys, when I was pregnant with Josiah, I was super emotional the whole time, especially that night. I remember getting in the truck and I was bawling, because to me, I don't know if you've experienced this before, but I'm sure you have, but to me, Elias was my only baby, and I felt like I couldn't love any other baby like I love Elias. To me, I feel like I wasn't going to love Josiah, and I know that's all like the hormones and everything, because now that I have both, I absolutely love them both the same and equal. They both have their differences already. They both have their different personalities that I love. There's days I want to spend more time with Josiah. There's days I want to spend more time with Elias, because they both have different, even though Josiah is barely going to turn 1, he already has his own personality, and there's times that Josiah is more lovey than other days, and there's times that Elias is more lovey than other days. I don't know, but I was really emotional that day. I was crying. I was really sad. It was really hard, but that's a whole different detail. It was just a really hard moment that one time. But anyways, we got to the hospital, and I was, you know, they took me to the back. They wanted to count my contractions. They put me down. They strapped me, you know, whatever that is called, where they, well, they, you know, they're reading the heartbeat, or listening to the baby's heartbeat, and, you know, counting the, or measuring the contractions. And she was like, yeah, you're definitely in labor. And I went to go pee, and I was bleeding. She was like, you're bleeding? Yeah. So she took me to the back. She put me in a room, and guys, it was super quick. We got there at 12. I think I had Josiah maybe 3 hours later. It was super quick. She did come and check up on me a few times if I wanted the epidural. I said no. I did not want it. I did not take it. I controlled my contractions. I did a method where you breathe in, breathe out, and I was making some crazy ass faces, but I mean, come on. My husband would be like, what's wrong with you? You look weird. But I was like, don't even look at me. Don't. Just go sleep. I don't care. I don't need you. As women, at least me, I am so mean to my husband. When we were in labor, like, I just did not want him to look at me. I did not want him to talk to me, not touch me, nothing. Like, I was just like, you know what, just, there's a couch, please take a nap. If I need you, I will yell at you. But I'm so mean. I don't mean to be mean. But at that moment, you just don't care. Like, you're being super selfish, but you're going through a huge process at that moment. You're giving a life to another human being, so it's acceptable. Anyways, so I was like, no, I got this. So they were getting harder and harder, and so close together, and I was like, I felt like I had to use the bathroom. And I remember my husband was asleep, and I was like, I was yelling his name, and he didn't hear me, and then I was so loud, and I'm like, wake up! And then he wakes up, and then he's like, what's wrong? And I'm like, go get the nurse, I have to go poop. And then I knew in my head that I did not have to go poop. It just felt like I had to go poop. I'm like, I think I'm ready. So he runs out the door and go gets a nurse. The nurse comes in, and she was like, what's going on? I'm like, I have to push. And she's like, no, wait. And I'm like, what do you mean wait? I was like, I gotta push. And when you push, the contractions, to me, when I would push, they would go away. Like, it's hard to explain. Like, every time I would push, the contractions would just kind of disappear, and it felt so good because I had to get the pressure out. So I wanted to push. So she would tell me not to, and I kept going. And then my husband's like, she told you not to push. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? I have to push. And he was like, oh God. And so she laid me flat, and at that moment, you just don't care. You have the sheets off you. You're just like sitting on a table, like how God brought you to earth. I did not care at that moment. Like, there's a point where my husband was trying to cover my boobs, and I was just like, oh God, I don't care. I just don't care. Sorry guys, TMI. At that moment, I didn't care. I'm very reserved, but at that moment, I was just like, nope. I don't want nothing touching me. So I had to push. It was really quick. The nurses, like 3 of them came in. They're like, no, don't push. So we're calling the doctor. The doctor didn't get here. I'm like, I'm freaking pushing. Like, I'm having this baby. There was a point where they both walked out. We were by ourselves. I was pushing and pushing. And my husband's like, no. And then the nurse came back in. She put some gloves. Another one came in. She's like, all right, we're having a baby. So they had no idea, like, they didn't know what to do. Like, they've been into like a delivery. I'm not saying, they were awesome. By the way, all the nurses that I was with, they were absolutely awesome. They were great. They knew what they were doing. They were on point with everything. They were awesome, especially these girls. But you could tell they were absolutely nervous because the doctor wasn't there. So if anything bad was to happen, you know, he needed to be there. So they were nervous, but they did an awesome job. I had the baby, and well, actually, the head was out. When the head was out, which is probably the hardest part, the doctor came in and he was like, Ruby, oh my gosh, and he put some gloves on, and then he told me one more push and one more push, and the whole body came out. Well, Josiah's body came out, and that was it. Baby Josiah was here, and he weighed 7 ounces. He weighed 7 pounds and 5 ounces, and he was 20 inches long. So we were blessed with another baby boy, and we were so happy, so excited. I was so glad, so relieved, and I was like, oh, I did it, and it was natural. I was so glad I did it. I am not against, and I don't judge if you had a C-section. Oh my God, I've heard that C-sections were probably the toughest. So huge props to you, and that, you know, if you went through that, because I heard that's probably the toughest to recover as well. So it doesn't matter, epidural, natural, C-section, we're all the same. We're all giving birth, and we're all giving a life to a human being. And there was the only reason I really wanted it natural is because I really, deep down in my heart, I really wanted to experience that. I wanted to experience it natural, and I did, and it was super, super painful. Totally different. But honestly, if I had to choose from epidural to natural, I would probably try to do it natural again, even though it's so painful. I had such bad experience with the epidural. I don't know if it was because I was induced. I don't know. I'll tell you right now, I won't have another baby with an epidural. I don't know if I'm gonna have another baby. I don't know. Right now, it's too soon to tell. Elias is 2.5, and Josiah is barely gonna turn 1 in a couple weeks. And I just want to enjoy my boys the most that I can. If another one comes in, well, he or she is more than welcome. But as in right now, I'm happy with both of my babies. I just want to enjoy them as much as I can. But like I said, there's a lot of controversy when it comes to natural or epidural. But my recommendation to you, if you are watching this and you're a first-time mom, is I know that maybe you might be planning to have it all natural, but once you get there, the whole game changes. It's totally different, and you can stick to your plans, and you can, because I did that the second time. I was like, no, it's gonna be natural no matter what. But anything could change because there's just so many risks that can happen. And I hope that if you're watching this and you're a first-time mom, I hope everything goes well with you, and you know, my best wishes and blessings for you. But I definitely think that stick to your plan if you really want to. Do a lot of research, a lot of exercises. That's what helped me. And just, I think what helped me a lot is everything is mental. I think if you control everything in your mind, that to me, I was having pain. I was having so much pain, but in my head, I was just like, I got this. I got this. I might be crazy talking, but in my head, I was just like, it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt. And the breathing, the in and out breathing, and exercises really worked for me. Like I said, I was making the craziest faces, maybe the loudest breathing ever, or weirdest breathing method ever, but at that moment all I wanted was to control myself and make sure that I was gonna have this baby natural. But anyways, yeah, that's a little bit of my story. I don't think I went too much into detail. I hope I didn't bore you guys with any of this, but just wanted to talk to you about this because I was at the park the other day and I met a new friend and we were just talking about this, and I was like, you know what, this is an awesome detail to talk about. So I wanted to share you guys my story with both of my babies and what I would do next. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching my channel. I really appreciate you guys for all the support. This for me has been more as of an exercise to keep my mind busy, and it just keeps my mind busy because being a stay-home mom, it's wonderful, wonderful. Don't get me wrong, I absolutely love it. I love spending time with my babies. I love being a mom, but it can also be really challenging and really hard because depression, anxiety, and all that comes in, and it might not look like it, but I get it here and there. And there's days that I'm feeling down in the dumps, and there's days that my anxiety is up to here and I'm going nuts. And filming has helped me so much because to me it's felt like a diary, and even though I don't do it every day, I'm trying to stick with it as much as I can. So everybody who has been here supporting me, I want to thank you guys so very much for all the support and for subscribing to my channel. Many blessings. Bye bye.